So one guy mocked and said they drinking. So it was said back to him, how can they drink, seeing that as was it the ninth out? No. What was it? The third hour of the day, I think it was. It was early. I believe it was the third hour of the day, which was 9 o'clock in the morning. And then somebody had mentioned that they were Galileans. And I had found out something about the Galileans. In Judea, you had the high priest, Jerusalem, Judea. You had the high priest, and you had learned men. You had these. That's why they were called doctors of the law, meaning the law of Moses, and they were considered learned men because they were schooled, just like Paul was schooled. See, Paul had a tutor. The one that schooled him was Gamaliel. Now, Paul, it doesn't really go into his parents, but he was from a prominent family. They were well-to-do. That's why they were able to get this one man, Gamaliel, to school him in the law, because Paul said he was an expert in the law, and he spoke fluent Greek and Hebrew. Now, it's said the scholars go into this, and I was going to pass it on to you, that the people of Galilee, they were considered unlearned. And even their Hebrew was like broken Hebrew. So you had different classes of Israelites. You had some that were well learned, that spoke proper Hebrew. And then you had some that spoke like a broken, just like you got Jake up in the north, and then you got Jake down south. Now, you can come from down south and speak the way you speak, and I can understand it. But there's people that never encountered people from the south, and they can't understand it. Just like among Benjamin, they speak that what they call it patois. They call it patois. I can understand that, man. I can understand, even though I was never down there, but being around certain Benjaminites when they talk their stuff, I understand them, most of it. But it's not proper English. Just like the different southern accents. There's words that they might say, let me fix you up. I'm fitting to do this. Right. Up in the north, you won't understand that. There's other words that they use. There's many different words that they use, different phrases that if you from the south, or people from the south, you understand what they're saying. But it's not proper English. All right? So it's the same thing with the Galileans. It said that them disciples were unlearned. Why were they unlearned? Because they didn't go to a school and up under tutors to be learned by the high priests and the scholars. So that's why them scribes and them Pharisees looked down on them, because you had like a class warfare. All right? Just to give you a little history, all right?
If I could just say this real quick. Now, that's why when Yahushua came to Nicodemus, who was supposed to be a master of the law, the basic little things that he was telling him about being born again, he couldn't get. It went right over his head. And he was a learned man, But the thing, that's why Yahushua said, I thank thee, O Father, for thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and has revealed it unto babes. Because the Most High is not dealing with the Most High is not dealing with them. It'll be very rare for somebody that's a learned man, like in the case of Paul, to be brought up into this truth, because usually them type of men would be proud. But there's certain men that the Lord brings into this thing that are learned. That's why the Most High. That's why Paul said that. He said that the Lord gave him a thorn in his side. Lest he should be exalted above measure by the multitude of the revelations that were given unto him. He even said, knowledge puffeth up. You got that, Elder Gabor?
Yeah, well, Paul himself was a learned man because he could speak Hebrew and Greek, and he came up under the foot of Gamaliel. But even he said he counted all that but dung that he could win Yahushua. Basically, he had to start all over again when he got knocked off that horse on his way to Damascus, the word babe from the book Matthew 11:25, I'll just read it. It says, at that time, Yahushua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and has revealed them unto babes. So, looking up the word babe from the Greek.
Strong's G 3516. Napios. Napios.
Which it says an infant, little child, a minor, not of age, metaphor, childish, untaught, unskilled. So that's what it means, you know, someone who's untaught, someone who's unskilled. They are unlearned, yep, meaning they're babes. The next word I was supposed to look up was, the next word from Colossians 2:8, which I'll read it. It says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahushua. Now the word there, let's look up the word there for philosophy. The Greek word.
Strong's G 5385. Philosophia. Philosophia.
Which they have love of wisdom, used either of zeal for or skill in any art of science, any branch of knowledge, used once in the New Testament of the theology, or rather theosophy, of certain Jewish Christian aesthetics, which busied itself with refined and speculative inquiries into the nature and classes of angels, into the ritual of the Mosaic law and the regulations of Jewish tradition respecting practical life. So that was the Greek word for philosophy in Colossians 2:8.
Yeah, Acts 4, I said verse 5, right?
This is the book of Acts chapter 4, verse 5. It says, and it came to pass on the morrow that their rulers and elders and scribes and Annas the high priest.
These were the learned men. So they thought that they were closer to the Most High because they were learned. They had those positions. The disciples, which became the apostles, these were fishermen. You know, they had different occupations. They didn't come up in the priesthood, and they wasn't learned. Like I said, go ahead.
It says, and Annas the high priest and Caiaphas and John and Alexander and as many as were of the kindred of the high priest were gathered together at Jerusalem. And when they had...
Like I said, these were learned men, scholars for lack of a better term, guys that had degrees. So they're looking down on the disciples like, how the hell is the Lord going to deal with these? These are fishermen and common people. So right then they thought they were over them. Go ahead.
And when they had set them in the midst, they asked, by what power or by what name have you done this?
Like he would have said, by what power and by what name have you done this? That's why the movies are good, because Esau love, because they're dramatic about it, man. He didn't say by what power and by what, by what power and by what name, like Eric looking down on him, like who the hell are you? That's why a lot of people look down on us, because we're regular guys, man. Go ahead.
It says, then Peter, filled with the Holy Spirit, said unto them.
Then Peter, filled with the Holy Spirit, said unto them. Go ahead.
Ye rulers of the people. And
yeah, because they were in that position. Go ahead.
And elders of Israel. If we this day be examined of the good deed done to the impotent man, by what means he is made whole.
Because what they did, you know why they got mad? Because what Peter did was he performed a miracle. He healed the man. And the last time they heard about that was when Yahushua did it. And they couldn't do it. That's why they told Yahushua, they said, man, you get that power from the devil. You know? So they're looking at him like, nah, he didn't heal that man through the power of the Lord, because we're sitting on these high seats of authority. If the Lord's going to give it to anybody, he's going to give it to them guys in them high seats of authority, which the Most High didn't give it to him. And then the Messiah, when the Messiah came on the scene, he got common men. He bypassed the high priests and the scribes and the rulers. That's why they hated him, man. Go ahead.
It says, be it known unto you all, and to all the people of Israel, that by the name of Yahushua Mashiach of Nazareth.
Right. Now he said Mashiach because he said the name Yahushua.